Welcome back to Ladies of Another View. I'm back, and we are joined with Susan Schwieters, a longtime friend of mine. We homeschooled together back in the day, and we just see each other around town. And we were having a conversation, and Susan kept talking about being a cheerleader, that she loved being a cheerleader for others. And I said, hey, would you come on our show? I love that idea, especially because we like strong women, but I think we've been sold a bill of goods that we all have to be board presidents and president of the company, and that now it's not so cool to just cheerlead for other people. So welcome to the show, Susan.
Well, thank you. It's fun to be here.
Why don't we start by explaining, when you said I love to be a cheerleader, what did you mean by that?
Because I took it literally, and I thought that we were interviewing like a cheerleading coach, and then I was like, I don't think I'm getting this right, Patty. How do we?
Especially when I said, just don't ask me to do the splits or anything like
right,
that.
and I was like, well, that's an odd thing for a coach to say.
No, not at all. I mean, yes, maybe back in the day, like in high school, yes, it was the true cheerleader thing or whatever, but more really about emotional cheerleading and just being there to lift somebody up or to build them up, rather than there's so many cut downs, there's so many tear downs, it seems like today, that it just seems like we need more of that, to cheer people on.
Exactly.
And you're a wife and a mother and a grandmother.
I am.
And nowadays, I wanted to be a strong woman, and nobody's going to tell me what to do, and I'm going to succeed at a master's. And then I start to realize, we can just support and be nurturing. We don't always have to be leading the way. But I want to mention, though, that you had your own business for 13 years, right?
Well, I did. Yeah, I did. I had a boutique downtown. But I think we should go back to actually being the the support, and I think that's the part that I love. That I think our world today kind of is sending us in different directions, and as I'm watching, I guess as a mother, I was fortunate and was able to be home, and took it pretty seriously to be the anchor at home. And now it's time to be grandma, and now it's time to watch daughters and daughter-in-laws. And the families are trying to find that balance, and I recognize like how complicated that can be, and the value of having somebody have time and be able to be present, to be the support and the anchor to everything that's going on, I think, in the home and in the family. And so more and more you start to realize, like, okay, it may sound like a silly thing to be talking about, but I really, really think it's valuable, and I really, really think we need to have more support and encouragement, especially in the families.
Susan, my husband and I were both raised by single mothers. Fathers, after a divorce, were completely out of the picture. And so when I had my son, I worked for about 8 months until we could afford for me to stay home. And that was such a novel idea for both of us, to have me stay at home, because we're finally getting the idealistic family that we had always hoped for as children. But something that I felt by staying home is that I was getting judged for staying at home, that I was not, well, what do you do all day? And I mean, how can women uplift each other instead of putting each other down, when I think we all can agree that home life it's a full-time job. So it's not what am I doing all day, it's what am I not doing all day.
And I guess I'm not really that comfortable sitting here and trying to determine or try to make a judgment on anybody, whether somebody is going to be home or they're not going to be home, but more just recognizing the value in having support and having encouragement, and the things that maybe we can be focusing on regardless of what our situation is, and just talking about the positive and what we can do, I think is valuable. So I don't think it's necessarily I don't think it's my place to say or point out if what's right for another mom or another family or anything of the sort, rather than just to talk about the encouragement that we should be trying to give to one another.
Yeah.
encourage all moms. Stop mom shaming.
100%. 100%.
If you
We're
choose
not-
to
right.
work, if you choose to stay home, if you choose to bottle feed, if you choose not to bottle feed, if you have a natural birth or you have a cesarean, these seem to be major dividing groups and mom groups, and that just needs to go away.
Yeah, I just think if we can try to find the things that bring us together, which is a challenge. I mean, especially in our world today, I think. I mean, we've become very divisive, and I'm not gonna lie, I found the last few years to be really divisive, and I feel like I'm kind of working on that again, like to really focus on, okay, wait, I don't agree necessarily with a particular situation or a particular person, but what can I do to find what I can support you on? What can I find to boost you up and to build you up? You know, even if I don't completely agree. So, I mean, I'm being really honest and saying that has been a little bit of a struggle the last few years, but it's just something I'm really wanting to work on, I think, a little bit more.
And I hear a lot, I mean, when I hear that, I hear it's nurturing. And men can do it too. We're not saying women can't. And as a matter of fact, men are more and more in our society encouraged to be nurturers and be involved in a family. But I grew up in a generation where that kind of talk was like, no, no, no. You know, like, why are you saying you're only going to be second best? Why are you cheerleading for the people that are succeeding? You need to be one of those people that are succeeding. And so there was a little bit of extremism that was going on. And so women needed more rights. We were, like, when we couldn't vote, when we couldn't sign contracts, that the suffragettes had a lot of important ideas that we need to be treated like equal citizens. But now the women's movement took it so far that it really became about the sex revolution, and now it's about abortion. And if they were listening to somebody saying, I just want to be a cheerleader, they'd say, come on, you can do more than that.
You have no drive.
Get in and play the game.
Yeah.
We don't need more cheerleaders. We need you in there. And so that's why I wanted to have you on, is like, no, being a cheerleader is a very valuable part to play in life. And you sent me an article, and so I'm just going to put up on the screen. What do cheerleaders provide, whether it's in your work environment, whether it's in your family, or just among your friends? There's a certain points. Positivity, warmth, safety, assuming the best, reinforcement, celebration, encouragement, security, shelter, you know, a place, whether it's, and Susan, you mentioned hospitality is part of that shelter and encouragement.
I love the hospitality part. I think it's been something I've really, really been thinking about, and it's kind of been part of my life. I feel like it's just welcoming people in, opening your door, welcoming them in, finding a way to find what they're good at, recognizing their value to the group, to the conversation, validating people. I think that's been really something that's been strong to me lately. As much as I love to receive that validation from somebody else, I have also found how great it feels to give it. You know, when you validate someone else when they have just done something or said something, and you've been touched by it, rather than just thinking it in your head, like, oh yeah, that was a good thought. In reality, you speak it back to them, and you say what you just heard. And the value of that alone makes a difference in a person. I think everybody needs to be validated. And sometimes I feel like the division that we have in our world, everybody's trying to find, you know, why they're better, or why they're more powerful, or why their idea is better. And I feel like the only way we're really going to make change is when we're able to come from a place of love. You know, when someone can feel the love that you have for them, I don't know, I think the fence kind of goes down a little bit, and we can maybe make a little bit more progress in differences. That's my hope. That's my goal.
But you also talked about hospitality. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think of hospitality, I guess it's just so strong to me. I do think of the warmth of gathering people in, opening your door perhaps, being available maybe to a stranger when you have no idea what the outcome is going to be, recognizing, being aware when somebody might just need a little conversation, somebody to notice them in the grocery store line, perhaps even. But I remember my grandmother, she used to have a plaque on her wall when I was a little girl, and it said, "Practice hospitality, for you never know when you might entertain an angel." And I always loved that. And it just sort of became a motto for me in my life of just wanting to do that. So I still today, I mean, I love opening my door and love having people over. Just, you know, sometimes it takes a little extra work, sometimes it takes a little extra energy, but even that, it's just something I think people need, where you get a chance to validate them and you get a chance to recognize what their strengths and their values are, and bring people together for, you know, just goodness, I guess.
Right. And it can be as simple as something as a shared cup of coffee, a coffee date, or bringing somebody a baked good if you've baked something, you know, little gestures. I don't think we have to go big, grand.
No, they don't have to be big parties that you
No.
spend hours
The
or
dishes
days.
don't
you know.
have to be cleared out of the sink. Your hair doesn't have to be completely done. I'll just share this because I shared it during the break, but my mother is in the hospital and it's been a rough couple days. And there was two people that I was thinking about in my head that I really wanted to reach out to, but I thought, no, I don't want to bother them with my problems. I'm just, you know, going to keep it home. Well, that evening they both reached out to me, and one person was saying, "Do you want to come over for coffee? It's been a while." And the other person said, "I'm having a rough time. Let's do lunch." And so, you know, the hospitality, it goes both ways, you know, and going over to my friend's house, she's got many little kids, and there's a granola bar on the table, and you know, it was comfortable. It was hospitality at its simplest, of just reaching out to somebody that you feel. You know, sometimes don't ignore your gut.
Don't ignore it. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I'm part of a group, and Susan, you know about it, that we started like a little prayer group and then a dinner club afterwards where we just bring food, because we realize there's a lot of moms, some work, some stay home, but they often feel isolated, and we just wanted to join together. So we pray and we eat, and it's just once a month. But I think, you know, you could bring food to people sometimes, that maybe your house isn't clean, but you think there's a need and you can help somebody out and bring food. And I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can be hospitable, even people on the street. Absolutely. You know, a lot of times you don't want to give them money, but I know people. In my book, Holy Hacks, I talked to somebody, Catherine Jean Lopez, who lives in New York City and is a writer for the National Review. She brings food, she brings gift coupons with her, like to McDonald's, that she'll hand out to people on the street, homeless people, so that in a way you're being hospitable, you're feeding them, and you're opening yourselves up to them, where you don't necessarily have to bring everybody into your house. But I want to get back to cheerleading in general, because I don't want it to be like just a woman's thing. But it is a woman's thing, and I don't want to be to forget that. I think it gets forgotten when, you know, with too much radical feminism. But it means a lot to kids and people when their fathers or when men do it too. And I have a list. You sent me an article, Susan, and I loved a few things in it where it talked about ways that you can cheerlead people, just for some ideas. So shout out on social media, send a personal message, like a little text. Offer to help with a challenge that might not even be related to you. And I know this was like in a work situation, but everything in life, you know, like shoveling your neighbor's sidewalk, or at home, my goodness, who doesn't appreciate if somebody does the dishes or does something to help them out. Take a customer's issue to completion. Give explicit credit. So let's stop right there. Well, we'll get back to that. I want to just do the last one. Encourage or help somebody take some time for themselves when dealing with a challenge, because sometimes you just need a break. But I want to get back to taking a customer's issue to completion. How many times have you appreciated it when you go into a store? And certain places, they'll take you all the way. Like, they don't just say, yeah, it's down there. They'll take you to there. They'll make sure you got what you needed. Or somebody who goes the extra mile on the phone, that they really, and to appreciate that, telling them thank you, or calling their supervisor and saying, I just want to tell you what this employee did. And I did it once. Somebody at the deli store at a grocery store, and I was visiting in Dearborn. Michigan, and I called, and they mistakenly started apologizing to me that we're short of staff. And they thought I was calling to complain.
That's probably all they
Sure.
get.
I said, no, I just want to tell you my experience and how positive and how this so-and-so went the extra mile.
Absolutely.
Just think if we all did that.
You know, another thing I was thinking about is oftentimes, like, let's say I've got a great thing that I just love that you do. Instead of telling you, I go and I tell a friend. It's like, wait a minute. No, I'm going to tell you.
Right.
Like, let me validate you. Let me, you know,
Yes.
let me just let you know that you're really doing something well. And I just think we fall short, I think a lot of people do. And I'm thinking, gosh, with text messaging, and it's so easy to really just send somebody a quick message to say, hey, I saw what you did. That was really great. Good job. Or thank you. Or, you know, it's just the little things, I guess, in my mind.
Absolutely. And I think we should also bring it closer to home and thanking the people in our home. I don't think that we do that enough. And I know I've been making a conscious effort. I've got a 14-year-old and a 10-year-old. Day before yesterday, I told them that they absolutely, pardon my semi-language, sucked at cleaning the kitchen. I said, you guys have fallen down on the job. This is awful. There's still food. And I'm like, we're going to have to do 101. Last night, I switched it up. They did it perfectly. This morning, I gave them tons of praises. Today, we had a dog that had a bone stuck on his mouth, and my husband had the horrible task of getting it off. And I thanked him. I said, that was tough. Thank you for taking responsibility and helping to get that off of him. Yeah. And it's those little things, because I don't think men are getting thanked enough. I think they're getting a lot of flack.
Yes.
And it's almost like the feminist movement is stepping on others to bring themselves up. And I really wish we had a term for the difference of this I'll just say it, ugly, hateful women's movement that's over here, as compared, like you were saying, the suffragettes. Those are the ladies that were just fighting for our rights, and we didn't have to suppress someone to lift ourselves up.
Yeah, right, to be given the same respect. You know what, it was funny when I was looking at different conversations that we might have. I looked up Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. I love that book back in the day, and I looked it up on Amazon. It was a New York Times bestseller, I don't know, 2 decades ago. But this guy was like a therapist, and he was seeing over and over male and female differences that were causing problems in marriage. And if you just understood that men and women are different, hello,
Right.
we know that. And there were over 9,000 5-star customer reviews, which is a lot on a book. And one of the things I saw, it had a summary of chapters. And for men, because we're talking about household chores and compliments, if men feel like you're just complaining, they're less likely to do it. But if they feel appreciated, they're more likely to help around the house. So I think that expands in general to the world, right?
I think we're all human. We all want to be validated. We all want to know that what we are doing is valuable to somebody, you know, and it just isn't that hard to remember to tell them thanks, or we appreciate you, or something.
Normalize thankfulness.
Yeah, like when you think about it, just listening to it today, it's so easy to do. We need to do more of it.